Okay, we're up and running. Good morning, everyone. This is my third attempt. First of all, the rain came down. I was on the back veranda. The rain was so loud. Then Bernie was trying to ring me and Pete. And then Mozzie's attacked me. So I've come indoors and let's see how we go. As you know, Pete was talking about, we're going to be doing Terrific Tuesday. What's Tuesday? Testimony Tuesday, Worship Wednesday, Theological Thursday, and Fantastic Fasting Friday. So we will be fasting for our church, praying for our church, our town, our state, our nation. So if anybody wants to join us for Fridays, that would be great. So today is Worship Wednesday, and I just wanted to share a few thoughts with you on that. And I've been thinking about just, the way we talk about the mountaintops and the valleys, and how, from the mountaintops, the view can be amazing. The vistas are great. The breeze is cool. The real estate is expensive. The vision is far. We can see from the mountaintops. It can often be a place of peace and pondering, and it's just a beautiful space. And it's easy to worship up there. When life is good, family's good, relationships are good, health is good, finances are, in a sweet spot. And it's just an easy place to worship, to give thanks. Often our worship in the high places in that way, talking about the high places of life, can be a place where we can really draw from in gratitude. And it's a beautiful place to worship. But then we have the places in the valley, the tough places where life, it throws you a bit of a curveball, where things don't always turn out as you'd hoped, where the breakthrough just seems unreachable, and there's chaos and pain and trauma, depression, all these things that life can throw at us. And that can be a very different place to worship. But as Christians, we're called to worship in every place, because the worship isn't always based in thankfulness. It's about who God is. And God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And I remember when I was early on in my Christian faith, that the Lord spoke to me about the sounds. He was talking to me about sound. He said there's a sound that comes from the high places, and it's a beautiful sound. It's a great sound. It's a sound of God's people worshiping Him. It's a sound of gratitude often, like I said. But there's a place in the valley that I just felt like the Lord said there's a sound that comes from the valley. When life doesn't always work out the way you'd hoped, and maybe, like I said, you're right in the middle of it, and yet you choose to worship. And it's like the Lord said, there's a sound that comes from the valley that He loves. It's different. It's a different sound. It's a sound of faith. It's a sound of trust. It's a sound that says, that's undergirded by, no matter where I'm at or what's happening, you are still God and you are on the throne. So I encourage you, wherever you're at in the moment, in the middle of this chaotic world, that you will sit and draw, into that place and worship God and give Him the glory that is due His name. I often think of, that amazing story of David, and when he was in that deep place of despair with his son, and he pleaded or pressed in. He was fasting and in prayer, praying that God would heal his son. And anyway, the outcome is incredibly sad. But what amazes me about that story is that part where it said he stood up, he washed his face, and he worshipped. And it was just that faith, that place where he was saying, Lord, no matter what, though you slay me, I will worship. And so I encourage you in these times to draw aside. Sometimes a lot of people don't know how to be alone. They don't really like their own, their own space. And this is a great time, forced recluse, but to draw aside and to just enjoy your own company and spend time with the Lord, and set up a place of worship, whether it's in your garden or in a place in your lounge room or a spare room, whatever that is, a place where it's uninterrupted, where you can, turn off your phone or put your headphones on, and where, you're not always thinking about other things, and just press into God and just release the praise that is due His name. Because I really believe that even though we know that God doesn't create this, but God never lets anything go to waste. And I think, there's a catalyst for revival that is on the horizon. And there's nothing like, you know, I was saying the other day, as people are in a state of pain where they felt in the past where they've been in control, where they've got, you know, their 2-year and their 4-year and their 5-year and 10-year plans. And, you know, they've got their goal setting and they've got everything planned out before them. And then something like this comes along and literally pulls a rug out from under them. And all of a sudden, this sense of being out of control, that they're not the masters necessarily of their own destiny. And it can cause people to really rethink about God. You know, the Bible says that if you call on his name, and that's what we've been praying, that as people feel out of control and where they haven't given God a second glance, that just maybe in these times, that, you know, the Bible says as we humble ourselves, as we realize that we're not always the masters of our own destiny, that God does have a plan, and they are good plans to prosper, and they're hopeful plans for a good future, that just maybe that people might start to tap into again and start to call on his name. And I believe that this could be, you know, the catalyst that God will use. Like I said before, making it clear, I don't think God creates any of this, but I don't think God wastes anything either. And that is could be the finest hour of the church to really press in and pray for that breakthrough. And I know stories I've heard already of people that I was reading a story the other day about a doctor who said he was an atheist, and he's been working in Italy, and the pain that he's seen, and he came across a pastor there who was praying for people at their bedside, and just how all the doctors noticed the place he was in. And he said it caused him to rethink. And he said, and now those doctors meet every day and pray. So let's press into God. Find that place, find that space, lift up holy hands and worship him, because he is worthy. And I'm going to leave you after this. There's going to be a link on the bottom, and there's this incredible song called So Will I. I did have it in my last message I gave you. I actually read it out to you, but I might just leave you to listen to it, and just maybe you can use that as a catalyst for your quiet time to enter in. And anyway, God bless you all. Love you heaps. And tomorrow is Theological Thursday, so you'll hear from Pete. Also, we were going to do a Q&A for you guys to bring in any questions that you like answered, anything on any level. And Pete and I will do our best to do that, or maybe that we can handle some of those questions to other people in the community that might even have better answers for you. Whatever that is, make sure you send your questions in, and we'll do our best to answer them. Bless you guys. Love you heaps. Bye.